So, I honestly never thought I'd be covering leaks again on this channel, but a rumor has popped up that is apparently a couple of months old, that kind of coincides with some of the things that were said in the Pokemon Presents a couple of days ago, and that is regarding Pokemon Champions. Now, I guess, spoiler warning, just in case the title and thumbnail weren't obvious enough, but there was a bit of a rumor that has kind of started resurfacing as of today. Now, just a shout out to the homies over at the Hidden Power podcast here, kind of breaking it all down for us, sharing screenshots of the original 4chan post, and also just providing a bit of extra context. So one of the big things here we can see is originally shared on May 18th. This rumor accurately described a victory point and the 2026 release date. Now, obviously, the 2026 release date was kind of a coin flip. I think there were some people like myself who thought it was going to come out this year, and others who thought it was going to be 2026. So that's kind of besides the point. But what we're going to do here is we're kind of just going to read through all this. We'll go through it all once just to kind of, I guess, quickly, briefly touch on it. And then we'll kind of just read back through it and essentially just give my thoughts on it all. So, starting from the top here, 350 Pokemon estimated at launch. That's kind of exactly what I was expecting. I was thinking closer to 400 just to match. I believe the base decks for Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet were both about 400. So kind of in that range is what I think a lot of people were guessing. The game will be free, a free digital download for the Switch 1, 2, and mobile devices. The release date is January 23rd, 2026. Pokemon Home is compatible on launch. Ranked modes will have seasons that last 2 to 3 months with regulation rules. Both ranked and casual modes are available, plus a new Battle Frontier-like mode with various challenges / tiers. Some challenges get harder as you go. Your opponent's Pokemon will level up as you progress. Rental teams are available, but only in the casual mode. Not available in ranked mode. There will be special modes like level 50, level 100, gimmick challenges, for example, a Dynamax only challenge for type-specific challenges, or type-specific challenges. One challenge will be like a Nuzlocke, sort of. If a Pokemon faints, it can't be used again until you beat a certain tier. You can't heal your Pokemon until you have won 10 consecutive battles. Every 10th battle will be a gym leader or a familiar NPC. If your whole team faints before you can heal, you have to start over. On the next page here, we have the NPCs and gym leaders will change each time. Challenges with special rewards unavailable. Wait, what? Challenges with special rewards unavailable in the store will take place. Oh, okay. So like special rewards you can't get in the store, of course. Sorry, my throat's a bit clogged here. Rewards include clothes from trainers, stadiums, held items, Pokemon clothes. You earn in-game currency by playing ranked, casual, or Battle Frontier matches. You'll also earn victory points, VP, for every win. Currency and VP are different. Very important distinction there. I know a lot of people, the first time they read this, basically kind of were like, oh no, this isn't real, blah, blah, blah. And you kind of see why as we finish this off. VP can be spent on healing items and general held items, while currency can be spent on stadium, skins, clothes, and exclusive held items. You can also buy currency with real money. This was one of the big things that made a lot of people think it was kind of fake, but again, we'll go through this shortly. There won't be a competitive battling mode in Generation 10. This will be the replacement. This is so they can make the mainline games larger, more expensive, and improve overall graphics. Now, that was kind of it there, right? And this is going to be a one-take Jake, so I apologize while I take a sip of my water here, but yeah, there's quite a lot in this, right? And the two major things that obviously people are kind of pointing towards here is one, the 2026 release date, and then of course 2 victory points, also in hyphens here, VP. Now, obviously, hopefully I'll put up like a graphic from the stream here or from the website, but VP is, it's a thing, right? And that's kind of what they call it. The victory points are referred to as VP. So they are the two major things as to why, I guess, a lot of people believe this is real. And I definitely think there is, there's something here, right? Because again, the 2026 release date was kind of a coin flip, but to also hit on the victory points, I do think was like really, really interesting, right? So, we already touched on the 350 Pokemon at launch. This game being a free digital download for Switch 1, 2, and mobile. As I've said before, I think this is the way to go. Obviously, I know some people aren't too happy with it. There are a lot of people out there who say, hey, let me just buy the game and not have to worry about, microtransactions, all that kind of stuff. But I do think, again, if we want as many people, testing and playing VGC as possible, this is definitely the best thing we could have for potential growth of VGC, just in general, right? The release date being January 23rd. I don't know the exact release date off the top of my head for Pokemon Legends Arceus, but I do know it was at the start of the year. I don't know if it was like late January or late February, but this kind of does line up with it. It also, puts it in that threshold where, again, it is, released within within 12 months of being announced. So again, to me, that's pretty believable. Pokemon Home is compatible at launch. Again, I think it has to be, especially for this game. They've already announced the connectivity between the two. And I don't think they can launch the game and say, oh yeah, all the Pokemon available at launch, you have to purchase through VP. So I do think they need this option at launch. So definitely really, really good. Ranked battles will have seasons that are 2 to 3 months long with regulation rules. I don't know if I ever made a video about this, but I know I've spoken to a lot of people about this. I think I probably touched on it in a video. But I do think one of the worst things, or at least for me personally, one of the hardest things about the last, 12 months of VGC has been the 4-month formats. I'm not a huge fan of them. I understand that competitively, the longer the format, the better, because it gives you more time to figure things out. And it makes for, towards the end of the format, the better players win more often than not. But as a content creator and someone who just likes to, play a lot of different teams, I do think 2 to 3 months is a lot more fun. It allows you to test things out. You can try out some crazy stuff. And also, I think it just makes the metagame more fun in general. And more formats, in my opinion, is just better. Both ranked and casual modes are available, plus a new Battle Frontier-like mode with various challenges, right? This is really cool. Again, this is something I probably should have touched on as well. When I finished my initial read-through. This is like my wish list. And that's kind of like, I think why I'm a bit, how do you say it? Like, I'm a bit skeptical on this, because it really does just sound like, if you ask me to basically describe my perfect Pokemon game, this is it. So it is kind of crazy. But yeah, so ranked and casual, we kind of already knew that was available. That was also announced. But again, to me, that means nothing. I think, everyone would have guessed that, and it was pretty obvious. But the new Battle Frontier-like mode, I do think is really cool, especially with the challenges and tiers. Obviously, would love to see how they kind of expand on that. Some challenges, yeah, I think we can kind of skip that, the challenge part there. Rental teams are available, but only in casual mode, not available in ranked. This is a really interesting one for me, simply because it's like, one, I think it kind of makes sense. Like, yes, I think it has to be available in casual mode. I do think it's weird that you can't take it into ranked. I could definitely, understand them not allowing you to take them into, like, online competitions. But ranked does seem interesting, unless there's, like, say, for example, I put up a rental and say, hey, guys, here's my code. You can maybe put in that code, and then it's like, oh, hey, this will cost you 5,000, VC to build this team, depending on what you got in your box. I do think that would be really cool. And potentially that's why there's no ranked, but again, who knows? There'll be special modes like level 50, 100, blah, blah, blah. I don't think this will affect the ranked ladder, so I'm not going to touch on it too much, but I definitely think stuff like this is cool, especially for fun challenges, especially if they're like, hey, this weekend, if you participate in this event, you'll get this, rare Pokemon, but the event is like Dynamax only. I think that would be really interesting. One challenge would be the Nuzlocke, the sort of Nuzlocke. Again, I'm not going to go too far into this, but this does sound really cool. I am personally a big fan of PvE. I think this really allows you to get creative with strategies, because you don't necessarily have to worry so much about what the person on the other side is doing, as much as it is just creating something fun. So yeah, Nuzlocke mode is definitely something I'm personally interested in. And then we skip to here. The NPCs, gym leaders will change each time. Again, that's cool. Challenges with special rewards unavailable in the store will take place. Again, this is kind of what I was touching on with like the Dynamax stuff just there, where it's like, hey, again, you could do some really cool stuff with this. I'm assuming it would mostly be cosmetic, where it would be like, hey, if you participate in this challenge, maybe you get this cool hat for your Charizard, or, you get this new throwing animation and stuff like that. Which, again, I actually do think is like really important for games like this, because it gives people like a reason to play outside of just spamming the ranked ladder. Especially to, if you're someone who plays this game a lot, you're like, hey, maybe I really want this, this new trainer outfit. I'm going to participate in this challenge. Even if, you just got to play your 3 games, like you did in the past when it came to, I believe, was it like some of the shinies they gave out in Sword and Shield? It was like, hey, play 3 games in the global challenge and you get this. But yeah, I think this is really cool, especially for like, if this game is going to be like live servicey, which is kind of what I want. Just because I think it's fun, right? That, you add in a new challenge every week, every other week. It also kind of, hopefully gives me the incentive to balance the game in a sense and say, hey, Fluttermane was the best Pokemon this month. Let's maybe, remove Moonblast from its move pool, stuff like that. But yeah, rewards will include clothes for your trainer, stadiums, held items, and Pokemon clothes. The only thing I don't like reading that rewards part is held items, simply because what happens if you miss this event, right? Say, just for the sake of this, Assault Vest is only available throughout a special event, right? Or a challenge. Do you just no longer get access to Assault Vest? Or like once a challenge is released, like say if, someone new picks up the game in 2 years, is that challenge going to be there? And it's like, oh, I really want, the Assault Vest. Okay, I have to go complete this challenge. If that's the case, then that's completely fine in my opinion. As long as it's in the base game and you don't have to pay for it or anything like that. I'm a big fan of, no pay to win in my video games. So yeah, like I just want to make sure if they do rewards like this, that it's not pay to win. Again, I said it earlier, like I personally don't care that much about microtransactions in the game. I know that's a bit of a hot take, but what I really do care is pay to win. As long as the game is not pay to win, I don't really care what they do. So yeah, as long as they're not locking like held items behind specific, timed events, I think that's completely fine. You'll earn in-game currencies by playing ranked, casual, or Battle Frontier matches. You'll also earn VP for every win. Currency and VP are different. So this is a big thing here, right? So obviously they showed off VP. VP was used to train the Pokemon. VP was also used to, purchase the license for a Pokemon. You could buy, swap your moves with it, change your natures with it, all that kind of stuff, right? So VP, again, we know it's confirmed, right? And we also, did get the clarification that, hey, you earn this from, winning matches. They also specifically say here, VP, you earn VP for every win. So every time you win a battle, you'll get VP. It also looks like there's a secondary currency, right? So this currency, if we look down a little bit further, it says VP can be spent on held healing items and general hold items, right? So again, that makes sense, right? If I boot up the game, hey, I want the choice band. The choice band, maybe say it's 1,000 VP, bang, I've got it now. I've got the, CB for as long as I play the game. The healing items is different. I'm guessing this is related to the Nuzlocke challenge they were kind of talking about earlier. Personally, I don't really want to spend VP on that kind of stuff unless you have like a ridiculous surplus of it. And again, who knows? Maybe you do these challenges like each time you win, you get 50 VP and it costs you like $100 to 100 VP to heal. Something like that would probably be fine, right? Because obviously, if you keep your team alive, you can go further, which will get you more VP, so on and so forth, right? But then it says, while the currency can be spent on stadium skins, clothes, and exclusive held items. Again, the exclusive held items is where I worry just a little bit, because when they say exclusive, right, what are they talking about? Are they saying, oh, hey, in order to get things like the choice items, you need to use the currency in particular to purchase it, which means that, hey, you start the game, oh, I can't afford choice band, choice scarf, choice specs, bang, I just spent $10, now I have it, now I own all three. That I don't like. That is very against what I want. Like, I'm a big believer in, hey, I just want everything in the base game, right? If they want to lock an item behind, a mission you have to do in game, I'm completely fine with that because everyone has to do it. I do not want it, put behind a currency that can be paid for, right? Because I think Pokemon Unite off memory did something similar on launch where it was like, hey, there's all these items, you have to level them up. But if you just spend $100, or I think it was like actually like a ridiculous amount of money, you could just max them out straight away, and it was kind of crazy. So that I'm definitely not looking forward to. But one thing I will say, again, when it comes to the currency stuff here is, if this is a paid currency, and they do add things like, the battle pass in it, I have a big question of, hey, what happens if I just play this game enough and I earn enough currency? Can I just buy the battle pass with currency? Therefore, I can play the game completely free. Because again, I'm the kind of person who's going to, grind this game. Say, for example, if everything in this is true, I'm personally going to play a lot of PvE. I'm also going to play a lot of PvP, right? So I will build a team. I'll get on the ladder. I want to try and make a rank 1 push when this game comes out, at launch. I won't deny that. I've been pretty vocal about that in the past. I want to make a rank 1 push. So say I build a team, I play 100 games with it, right? If 100 wins or something like that earns me like, 50,000 VP, and which is then enough to, potentially, build 50 more mons, fantastic, right? That I'm all for, but yeah, I am kind of curious how this currency is going to work, because again, if this is true, which again, we don't know, take it with a grain of salt, but when it comes to this VP stuff, I am kind of leaning towards this being real. And as I said, I kind of hope it is. There's a lot of stuff in this that is really cool. For me, I'm really praying that these exclusive held items aren't timed exclusive. It's like, hey, maybe the choice items, great example, choice items, assault vest, stuff like that. Maybe that is behind this currency rather than VP. But as long as I can earn them pretty quick just from playing the game, that, in my opinion, is completely fine, right? But yeah, the battle pass is going to be interesting, because I'm really curious if, say I play this game every day, can I be completely free to play and just earn everything in the game? That's going to be what I want to see. In saying that, though, if they do add a battle pass, they could just, hey, you don't purchase it with currency, it's going to cost you $5 a month. Live with it, But then, yeah, obviously there it says you can buy, you can also buy currency with real money. We kind of touched on it. As long as it's cosmetic or purely cosmetic, I personally don't care, right? If they come out and say, hey, here's a new outfit for Pikachu, it's $20, I don't care. I'm personally not going to just outright spend money on skins unless it, like, really grabs my attention. I've played video games for many years. I've spent far more money on microtransactions than I'd probably like to admit. But I'm a big, fan of things like battle passes, right? Where it's like, hey, you purchase this, and the more you play, the more stuff you unlock. I'm not the kind of person who's just going to go buy a cosmetic, right? You know, if they just come out and say, hey, here's a shirt for Charizard, it's 10 bucks, I don't care. I'm not going to purchase it. But, you know, as I mentioned before, if they come out and say, hey, here's a battle pass, if you hit level 100, you get a cool shirt for Charizard, hell, I'm going to try to do it, right? That's just me. And then, yeah, the final point, it's not really important here, but there won't be competitive battling in Generation 10. This will be the replacement. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm kind of torn because part of me is like, okay, it would probably improve the main series, right? Depending on how they eventually went with the combat system, which I'm all for. I definitely think when I, you know, play some other, you know, games or the modern day games, like for example, I'll use Final Fantasy VII as an example. Obviously very different games, but they're both JRPGs at the end of the day. The original Final Fantasy VII, I believe, was turn-based, and it's like you kind of look how it's evolved from the original Final Fantasy VII to the remake. It's night and day, obviously, with the action combat, and then of course it's just a beautiful game, beautiful world, beautiful story, stuff like that. So if moving away from turn-based battles could improve everything else in Pokemon, I'm completely fine with it. Especially if this game is, you know, free to play. And then, you know, obviously they add stuff. Say Generation 10 drops, and then, you know, I don't know, a week later or something, everything from Gen 10 is now available in Pokemon Home. Therefore, it is now available in Pokemon Champions. To me, that would be completely fine, and I would be all for that. But yeah, I guess that's kind of it. Is there anything else I really want to talk about? I don't know. Like, I'm really curious to see what you guys think because, as I said, I'm on the fence about this. I believe there is a chance this is real. Because I think if I go back, so if we go back to this page, you can see my mouse down here at the bottom. This came out on the 17th of the 5th. I know they said the 18th of the 5th, but I'm assuming that was, it's probably just like based on where you are in the world. This person could be, you know, in America, for example, and it was posted by an Australian for all I know. Therefore the dates wouldn't line up. But yeah, so this coming out like 2 months before the presents, I think is really interesting. Especially because I think like victory points is like so crazy to like touch on. Like this here is like the big thing. Like that 2026 launch, I'm like, whatever, yeah, coin flip. The victory points and in particular VP, that's why I'm interested. Especially too when they say, hey, like, you know, currency and VP are different. Currency can be purchased with real money, but they don't mention VP being purchased with real money. And then on the website, they specifically say you can't purchase VP with real money. I don't know. That's a lot of coincidences lining up there. But yeah, look, I've rambled on long enough anyway. This is really, really interesting. Personally, I kind of hope it's true, right? As I said, outside of these, you know, potential exclusive held items, I'm a big fan of almost everything that was said here. I want the game to be free to play. I know I get roasted for that. You know, I got roasted a couple videos ago for it, but yeah, I really think if this game is free to play, more people will try it. And even if, say, you know, only 10% of the people that play this game actually get into VGC, that's a huge win. Because this is a game where if it's free to play, I could easily have over 1 million downloads. As a matter of fact, I believe it would be a lot more than 1 million downloads, right? Even if just say there's 10 million and 1% of those people get into VGC, I think that's just a massive win for VGC overall, right? Like, seriously, like, I could easily see this game, especially with mobile phones getting involved, getting well over 10 million downloads. And yeah, because of that, I think this is just, I think it could be huge for VGC, and I really want to see it, man. I love this game so much, and I just want to see it, you know, continue to grow. But yeah, I guess, look, that's it for me. I've rambled on long enough. As I said, let me know down below what you guys think. I'm really curious to see what everyone else has to say. But yeah, that'll be it for this one. I'll catch you to the next one. Peace.